You know, the trailer wasn't exactly my favorite, but I'm really looking forward to watching the New Mutants.
2,000 years later.
Hey guys, Cameron with C-Beam Reviews here, and I'm here to finally give you a review of the New Mutants. The New Mutants was directed by Josh Boone, and it stars Blue Hunt, Anna Taylor-Joy, Maisie Williams, Charlie Heaton, Henry Zaga, and Alice Braga. I'm gonna give you the story without spoiling anything, the things I liked, the things that I didn't like, and my overall score. I'm not going to wait 28 months to give it to you, so let's go ahead and get started. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. If you could give it a thumbs up, it raises the visibility of this video as well as my channel. If you're a fan of comic book movie reviews or even comic book TV show reviews, click that subscribe button. And if you want to know as soon as I upload anything, hit that notification bell. You'll know as soon as I post. If you are familiar with the saga behind the New Mutants, you understand that it was announced back in 2017 to be released in 2018. And then that got bumped to later in 2018. And so on and so forth until we finally arrived in 2020. Why? Everything bad that could happen is happening in 2020. And it's late because circumstances, and there was kind of a hurricane that kind of went through the state. But all that aside, I finally got to watch it, and I'm here to give you the review. Now, first off, this story is about a group of young mutants, and they all have powers that they are trying to either control or they're trying to figure out exactly what their powers are. That part is centered around the main character, Dani Moonstar. She's the newest New Mutant, and she's not exactly quite sure what her powers are, but she soon meets everybody else in the house. There's Rain, who's really nice to her, and they get along and they're fast friends. Then you've got Illyana Rasputin, who is the mean girl for whatever reason. She's got demons in her past, maybe quite literally, and I just feel like they made her the mean girl just because they needed somebody to clash with the main character, who we're, as the audience, are looking at this situation through her eyes. And then she doesn't eventually warm up, it just kind of turns. It didn't make much sense to me. Then you got Sam, who is the guy from Kentucky. He always has injuries, he always looks like he's hurt because of his mutant ability. I disliked how it visually looked on the screen. It looked lazy and kind of shaky. I was not a fan of that. In fact, that may be my least favorite portrayal as far as what their mutant ability is, maybe. And then you got Roberto, who's the hot guy. He's Sunspot. We've seen Sunspot before in X-Men Days of Future Past, but never as this, younger guy. And I really didn't have a problem with Roberto. He had some of the funnier lines. He was one of the more charismatic characters. If you are looking for some beefcake in this movie, that's your guy. So as far as him, I didn't have a problem with it. He wasn't my favorite character. I think Maisie ended up being my favorite character. She's very sweet. And without her, without Rain in this movie, it would have been an entire train wreck and not just a itty bitty train wreck. They're all in this facility who is being watched over by Dr. Cecilia Reyes, and that's all that I can really say without getting into the meat and potatoes of the movie. And I will say this, there are some good story elements that are mentioned and some potential that can be had in this. I did enjoy Blue Hunt and Maisie Williams acting in this. I think that they are the two strongest portrayals in here, but there's not really much else that I can say definitively and positive without spoiling a few things. However, the not so good things, I got a list. There's so many things that don't interest me in the first two acts, that by the time I get to the third act, I don't care that much. And I'm not saying that it was incredibly boring, because there are things that happen, but it's also a little confusing. There's a whole setup that's made in this movie as far as where the kids are, why they're there, and then other questions about their surroundings that are never answered. We never know where they are aside from this hospital. We don't know where in the world it is. There are things about the setting where they are that raises a bunch of questions, and not only are those questions never answered, the questions never asked. It was so frustrating because they have a lot of doors, and they're like, ooh, look at this door. You see that door? And they're never open. They're never even knocked on. And it's a whole bunch of potential wasted. And I really hate this. I really hate this because the X-Men, I love the X-Men so much. And this is technically Fox's last release as far as an X property goes. I wish that it was so much stronger, especially the climax. It was supposed to be suspenseful and scary, and it ended up being pretty dumb. Yeah, there's no other word to describe it other than pretty dumb. And okay, as much as I'd like to keep going on sighing about this movie, I need to just go ahead and give it a grade and wrap this review up. The grade that I'm going to give this movie is a 52. The story is where I find the most fault. There are questions that are never asked nor answered. The setting is very stagnant. They are in one place the entire movie with only flashbacks to other places. But when you have those flashbacks to other places, those are moments that are supposed to make you get more connected with the other characters, and I still didn't feel that. I felt like it was just telling the audience, hey, by the way, this is their backstory. Now let's get back to not much happening. And every now and then, me personally, just felt that Sam and Ilyana's accents didn't quite hit. So maybe they were a little off, but that was just, like I said, my personal opinion. And I never got invested in any of the cast, not one single member. It was kind of nice going back to the movie theater. I'll be honest, I kind of enjoyed it. The theater, did everything it could to keep people safe. But if this is what I'm going to the movies to go watch, y'all could have released that on Disney+. So that's my review of The New Mutants without spoiling anything. Let me know what you thought about it in the comment section down below. You enjoyed this video, hit that like button, and if you're new here, subscribe to the channel. Share this with your friends, and as always, this is Cameron with CBM Reviews. We'll see you next time.